Harambee! Neno hili si hivyo, mambo ni matatu.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rigathi Gachagua has technically kicked Cleophas Malala out of DCP party. According to credible sources, the office of the deputy party leader has now been changed to programs office. And for those who remember, when Cleophas Malala joined the DCP, he was serving as Secretary General of the ruling party. He had employees there. So he came with almost 13 employees to DCP. As we speak, all of them have been told to leave, according to credible sources. But Malala is still insisting that they're still working very closely with Rigathi Gachagua.
Sisi ndio nani? Na wamefukuza Sifuna kwa ODM. Hakuna mrengo ya ODM huku na huku. Na sasa wanataka kufukuza Cleo kwa DCP. Mimi ninaambia nyinyi watu ya DCP, waachaneni na Cleo arudi nyumbani afanye na Sifuna kazi. Cleo arudi nyumbani ama asirudi? Wameanza mambo mengi kwa huyu kijana. Wamemtoa UDA, wanataka kumtoa DCP. Sasa wacha akuja afanye na Sifu, hata Cleo akuwe Sifuna. Na mwisho nikikuwa senator, mimi nikikupatia 10 million wewe Cleo, ama wewe Mama Elsie ama Khalwale, wananchi wakikupatia 10 million lazima you account for 10 million. Usipo account for 10 million tunakutuma nyumbani. Asante.
But Rigathi Gachagua was on Inoro TV the other day, and he made it very, very clear that he had a close associate from the Luhya nation. But they fell out because the associate, who is Malala, confronted him over his alleged tribal politics, that he was turning DCP into tribal party. And because of that, Rigathi is quoted, because he spoke in Kikuyu, it was stated very clearly that he no longer trusts that guy. And when Rigathi Gachagua engineered the appointment of Methu as the spokesperson for DCP, I did an analysis. And in that analysis, I predicted that Malala was actually going to be removed. Ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I want us to look at two things. Why William Ruto is very happy, and of course, what next for Cleophas Malala.
Uongozi wa Kenya unataka urafiki na makabila zingine. Hatuwezi sema ati tunasupport Muluya na sisi hatufanyi kazi na makabila zingine. That is why mimi nimejituma kuenda kutafuta urafiki na kabila zingine. Wakikuyu wale mnajua wako na numbers. Paka nifanye urafiki nao. Mimi nimeona hii serikali ya Ruto inajua nenda nyumbani, leo imesponsor propaganda ati mimi na Rigathi Gachagua tumekosana. Mimi nataka kuambia watu ambao wanapeleka hiyo porojo kwamba sisi na Rigathi Gachagua tumeshikana kabisa. Hiyo ni porojo. Wanataka kuleta porojo ndio watugawanishe, united opposition isishinde serikali. I want to say here, I have no problem with my party leader. I am the deputy party leader of DCP. Na mimi ndio mwanzilishi wa hiyo chama.
Before we get into all those details, in case you're watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I want us to look at why William Ruto is actually very happy with the fallout between Rigathi Gachagua and Cleophas Malala. Number one, William Ruto impeached Rigathi Gachagua on the account that Gachagua was a tribal leader. Malala himself has confirmed, Rigathi Gachagua himself confirmed during his Inoro TV that Malala confronted him over the tribal nature of his politics. So in short, moving forward, William Ruto can actually sustain the narrative that indeed he removed Rigathi because Rigathi was tribal. So he can easily maintain that. Number two, and this is something which I've always maintained, that, you know, Malala was William Ruto's mole, Trojan horse. So Ruto now has insider information about DCP. In fact, someone was telling me that DCP is the party which William Ruto and the NIS have really infiltrated. Of course, now Malala is out. Sometimes it's good to have Malala inside. But he was on a job. He was on assignment, which he has executed. So probably he has now given Ruto the right information. If you were to plant some things on those rooms, those things are already planted. So Ruto will now have insider information about DCP party. And importantly, Malala was now the face of the lawyer in DCP. And remember, he delivered a seat in Kakamega during that by-election. Ruto has been facing serious challenge as far as lawyer politics is concerned. Now, we are talking of Malala, who was the major lawyer factor in DCP leaving. Which means Ruto will now then go to the mountain and he can actually tell them that, you know, those guys will always betray you. And importantly, which is my last point on why Ruto is happy, he will now be able to project DCP as a tribal party, because there's no way you can have a party leader, then you go and appoint a spokesperson from another party while you leave Cleophas Malala, who was the UDA spokesperson, who was ANC spokesperson, who at some point was very close with Raila Odinga, and then you appoint him. It doesn't make sense. So William Ruto now will be able to say whatever he wants about DCP. In fact, I think if you're to rate Malala's assignment in UDA, he performed well. But what next for Cleophas Malala? Because I can accuse him of being a mole, yet he was not. What next for him? Number one, Cleophas Malala can now then focus on Kakamega. The truth is, if Cleophas Malala positioned himself well, he's very popular in Kakamega. He understands Kakamega politics. This is a man who was an MC in Kakamega. He became a senator in Kakamega, Secretary General of UDA, which means he has all those networks. So he can easily even decide to focus on Kakamega, but because DCP will not perform well without Malala at the top there in Kakamega, he can then decide to run as independent. He can say, mimi nilijaribu huyu akani dump. But UDA is not very popular, so I cannot join UDA. ODM has their governor, so I just want to be Cleophas Malala. So if you are electing me, elect me as Cleophas Malala. So in short, he can become William Ruto's candidate without the people of Kakamega knowing, but as an independent candidate. That's number one. Number two, he can make the mold. Number two, Cleophas Malala can make that bold move and go back to UDA. That's his home. There is no way Malala could just leave UDA like that. He was just on assignment. Of course, this will have impact negative on him because he will be viewed as someone who was used. But he can then go back to UDA where he belongs. Because Cleophas Malala has a home, a very good home in Kakamega. According to Rashid Chesa, the person who constructed that house for Malala was none other than William Ruto. So far, you guys, because I used to ask you, none of you has been able to explain to me that, you know, that bad thing that made Malala and Ruto to fall out, if it was not assignment. Because I'm trying to look at it. What could have caused the fallout between Ruto and Malala? None. Yeah? So in my view, he can go back to where he belongs. Number three, and this is a very good opportunity for him. Malala can opt to join Linda Wananchi. In fact, joining Linda Wananchi right now is the best for him. For two reasons. Ruto can use him to infiltrate that camp again. Because Malala is a very good politician. He knows how to dominate. But if he's not being used, right now in the Luhya nation, Linda Wananchi is taking it by a storm. And Malala was at some point part of this team. The team of Sifuna, the team of Ososi. Those are now the engine of Linda Wananchi in Luhya nation. So Malala can say, okay, I'm joining Linda Wananchi. And I'm looking at it critically. Do we have a Linda Wananchi candidate in Kakamega as we speak? If you are to ask me, there is none. And that's where now he comes in. He can become their candidate and win. And they can easily run the narrative of generational change politics in the Luhya nation. If Malala were to join Linda Wananchi today in Kakamega, they will be able to kick everybody out of Kakamega. They'll run everybody out of Kakamega town. I don't know what you think. That's my take. Until next time, this is Makwiny. Bye-bye.